Básicamente el diseñador ya ha estado trabajando en el Figma. Mira, lo copio ahí en el chat de Transparency, así también si queréis podéis dejar comentarios, con sugerencias para el diseñador que está trabajando en ello ahora mismo. Planea tenerlo listo para mañana o miércoles. Transparency. Básicamente esto es cómo se verá el TEC Converter, pero la página avanzada. Básicamente la gente pues pondrá aquí la gente pondrá aquí una cantidad de DAI y automáticamente pues saldrá aquí el porcentaje, saldrá un número, el número que va a ir destinado aquí abajo va a salir el número que va a la Common Pool y aquí el número que va a la reserva. Esto es en DAI también.
Un segundo.
¿Sí?
Hey Andy, we're just speaking Spanish because we all do here, but feel free. Like, I'm not sure if you speak Spanish as well, but we can switch languages.
Oh, I was speaking Spanish. Sorry, I can switch to English. Yeah. So yeah, basically, the people interacting with the converter. This is like the interface they are going to see. This monitor itself, I should make a comment. This is also. This is in. And then when they click these two arrows, like the user click these two arrows, it will change to the burn. Like this is like the mint view, but then when people want to burn TC, the arrows also going to switch, but this is also not done yet. So basically, like this is what people will introduce the amount of DAI that they want to switch, and then this quadrant with this second one will be interactive. So if they say they want to buy, I don't know, 20k of DAI worth of TC, they will see here in the chart. Basically, like this is at the price you're buying, and then basically, I don't know if you guys saw like the config dashboard. Basically, like it's going to be the same. Like when people ask for an amount in the ABC. Show me one big two. So yeah, basically it's going to be like this. Like people will see how much the price is being moved in the bonding curve. This is also going to be represented here, but we need the developer to work on that first. And then here we will have an historical price just for the mint and burn. And then here we will, this is better shown. I mean, this is still work in progress. But basically what we are going to show here is like, I got inspired on the Honiswap, info Honiswap. Like basically like we will see like the account, the amount of money that's in the reserve, like the TC supply, like yeah, all those things. And the hardest one is like this new mean price, because we need to interact with the graph. And in Gnosis it's not working so good. Yeah, I don't know, like since you're here, Antti, you probably know better. But for some reason, when you go to Uniswap and you check the water token, water, here, like only Honey is getting like the volume. All the other tokens are like 0, and this looks like broken.
Yeah, That's because a few days ago, like, well, probably a few weeks ago, I'm not sure of the
Oh,
time frame.
very long time, like at least for a month.
Yeah, so they have been having problems with the subgraph, and that takes a whole lot of time to sync because it has to track the historical data from the blockchain, like the entire blockchain, and that's a lot of time. And so, as far as I know, they're just waiting for the subgraph to finish, and after that, it should be solved. I can ask
Okay.
around again
So
in case of, but that's
it will take a long, right? Like it could be like easily 2 months without this data.
hopefully less, but yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll ask around just
I
to make
think
sure.
thanks for the info. Oh, sorry, I was muted. I was talking to no one. What I was saying, like, yeah, basically when you go to Swap, like the charts are working, like the price are being added, but for some reason, like the volume is not. But yeah, thank you for sharing an update, NT. And yeah, basically this is what is going to be there in the historical price. Uh, I don't know. Feel free to jump into this Figma tiny moment and if share comments to like Rodri is working on it right now. Like if you want to see something different, like before we launch this page, yeah, make sure to make some comments here. Basically, like what Rodri is doing now is getting rid of these quadrants and he's working on two designs. So then we have to decide. This first one has like more limited space because have those quadrants, but then he's also working here to add like the all this information in like in one page, so people will see all of this. Like this empty space is going to be filled, uh, but this is something like the design is working, and then when he have the two designs, we have to choose which one we like the most. Um, And then, yeah, the other thing I like to chat is, but I really think like Rex should be here. But it's nice you here. But is there any updates with the transparency? Like this doc, like we have to put it into date, right? Like we have to collect all the previous date, which is in the audit, but and also on
Yeah,
the. Mhm. Is that done?
yeah. So we kind of like divided the work like between him and me. He said he was gonna finish it this weekend, so I'm not sure if he finished. We can check the document, but let's say it
Yeah,
was like halfway done.
I'm doing it right
Um,
now.
yeah, if you wanna just take a look. He just like DM me like at 4 a.m. for me, so
Oh
maybe
wow,
he was working on it at that time. Um,
you were
but
probably
I'm not
sleeping.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the one for transparency. Oh yeah, cool. So this is until
Uh,
April, right? Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think that's just my part. That's for March, like the contributions that were made in March, February and March. And then we're still missing April and May that Rex was gonna do it.
April's here.
Because that's the date from where the transaction happened, but like the contribution is actually from March. Like you can see there in the description, March and February.
This- Oh,
Yeah, so like the date is like where
uh,
the transaction happened, but it's covering the period of March and February.
I think it'd be nice if we add here what actually was done, right? Like,
There's like another column to the right that says notes. Uh, we could add it over there, but I just thought, oh, you know
oh,
what? Like everything is on the forum, so I just wrote check in the forum. But if you
yeah,
think that it would be good, like we can just like kind of copy and
yeah.
paste.
I think I really think it's important. Like, check the forum is like, go and check yourself, motherfucker. you know, it's like, like the list. It should be a link, but I think it's, and you can add the note and see what was done there.
Yeah,
And then
sure. Yeah.
in the day, like in yeah, I mean, what I'm doing at Gravity, it's like I'm putting not the date when the transaction was done, but basically like the like if contributions of March, I would put 31 of March. Yeah, so it's more clear
Okay.
to know how we like on the dates.
Yeah,
uh
that's kind of confusing because I was also thinking like then when we if we want to review this information, let's say for example for the audit,
mhm.
how are we gonna match it with the blockchain, right? Because we're gonna see in the blockchain that there were transactions happening at April 7. How are we gonna know that was for for March, right? It's kind of hard to match it. So
I
I
mean,
was,
we had
I
the
guess
we
it's
had
a
the
topic.
transaction here, and I don't think we ever going to, checking the dates with the blockchain. Basically,
Um,
what I'm doing with the audit is like checking like the numbers with the blockchain. Like, of course, like the amount of money that's in the multi-sig have to be the same as in this balance. But if it happens on 7 or 31 of, I think it's better to be clear with us. Like, I think the mission of this document is to be helpful for us, and especially Sampo, to understand what's going on. I mean, I don't think it's big of a deal, like having the date here one or the other. I prefer having like the last day of the month that it got distributed, but that's my preference. But what is the thing is like we need to coordinate and make all the same,
yeah, I
right?
agree. Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe that's true. Maybe we can put it on the 31st. Because like this creates like the pivot tables for the cash flow summary per month, right? So
Yeah,
we want to say that these transactions are for March and not for April, right? So
exactly. That
yeah,
yeah, that was my point.
yeah.
I think it's on the other browser, but I can open it here too.
I will change that then, Septi,
Yeah,
and it should be good.
this one was actually started by Rex, and I mean, yeah, he was picking the ones from the right, but yeah, basically like, you know, 28. I need to change this column like to match the handles. Yeah, this is correct. Oh, you don't have th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know his handle.
let me add it right now.
Yeah, so then I will change the dates and then I mean with the notes, the only thing is that like for example in the forum it's a lot of text when people describe their different tasks. So I guess it's gonna be like a pretty long line, but if we're okay with it, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, we can also match it then. Like, some of those, like in the notes, are pretty long, and then we just match it so it's readable, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sounds good.
Um, oh yeah, I was th.
And in regards with the distribution, Septi, were you able to contact other stewards, or how was that? How was that process?
Yeah, I actually talked with all of them. The only one that didn't answer back is Chui. But then I also wanted to talk in here how we are going to handle with comms, because comms have a lot of multisigs. So do we want one form for each working group, or we want all of them in one? And then
Yeah. Um, I've been, like tracking the expenses of all the working groups and stuff. I think personally it would be better if each team has its own document, right? Because each, like you're saying, each team has its own multisig. They have their own operations. They're kind of working on its own thing. And actually, at least in my understanding, comes as a working group. It doesn't have like a, I don't know if they have a multisig, but at least they don't have funds, right? Like the funds have them each working team. Is that right?
no, actually they have one multisig for every working group. Like basically, like yeah, I'm tracking those here. But yeah, basically, like you can see, like the T Academy have one multisig,
Yeah,
animation
yeah,
team, like, and then all those multisig have different funds. Hello Rex, we just chatting about basically like the data standardization, and then
Yeah.
how do we want to handle with comms? Like comms have multiple multisigs. Do we want one that covered the whole comms, or do we want one document for each multisig?
Uh, I'm very indifferent. You can add an extra column saying multisig. Or they could. So in the actual aggregating it, so long as all of the files are in the same folder in our Google Drive, it doesn't matter. Because you can build something in like as an interim. But okay, let me gather my thoughts basically. So I don't think it matters too much whether we have one per multisig or one big one for all multisigs. So that depends a lot on how they want to operate. Now, for the one where we aggregate, if they do stuff as having one Excel per multisig, I am going to have to build like one in the middle that grabs all of their different multisigs and turns it into one Excel, and then grab that Excel and put it into the one where we have all of the TEC, if you're following. So it's a matter of, to me, if that's how they work and they're working independently, maybe each of the multisigs like need to see a balance in like specific charts. If they don't, then we can have them all in one. So, is there someone from comms here where like we can ask, just like, why are you doing this way? Like that will probably give us the answer.
Yeah, the answer is because the intention with comms, like, what if the comms was a very big proposal, like asking for a lot of funds, and then what if if the community doesn't want to fund translations, but yeah, it want the Twitter be running, right? Then
Okay.
if you have like different proposals, like the community can signal what wants to be funded and what doesn't.
Okay.
And yeah, every team is working kind of independently. Like Chewy is connecting all the dots, but it's just Chewy.
Okay. So it would make more sense to have them separate then, to keep them separate.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion, but actually, I wanted to follow your advice in this one.
Okay. Me neither. So I think the format we have accommodates for both options, but if it's less disruptive for them to keep all of them separate, then we can do it that way, and then build a all of community. You said so we can build we can build a middle one which grabs all of them, puts them all together for that working group, and
In
that
the
shouldn't be much of an issue.
you mean in the master sheet?
No, like so if the working group, say they have 5 multisigs, that working group community. What was the name of the working group again? Communitas.
It's comms. It's comms, not
Comms.
community.
Okay, so comms has 5 multisigs. We can have an Excel for each of the 5 multisigs if that's how they want to do it. Then we can build an Excel which just grabs the 5 multisig Excels and then puts them all into one. And then we can use that aggregated like 5 multisig Excel and put that into our whole TEC one, if that makes sense. So building in the middle one won't be too much of an issue either. And if it helps that working group, then I see no reason why we shouldn't do it that way. But if the work, because if each multisig needs to see their balance, and each multisig kind of needs to see what tokens they've got.
Actually, comms is using dwork, so all the information they need is handled by dwork. We don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
Like the only concern here is like to distribute this information to sample, and
So what do you mean by they're using dwork? So dwork was like a
dwork is this platform, and then people like you can see everything in like it's going like open task, who's doing what, and then you can see also the combined board. The internet is going very slow.
Yeah, like this one's like a it's the card based ones, right? Where you have to do, in progress, done.
Yeah, but you also see all the budgets here, like who's making what. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Trello but connected to a multisig.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay.
So, like, we don't need to focus on comms needs. We need to focus on sample and community needs.
Okay. So comms already has the multisig view that they whatever, and so comms. So our process is basically grabbing the comms information already on this platform and then giving it to Sampo. Okay, in that case, yeah, we can add an extra column saying multisig if need be, so we have parity in the data. We're not losing any data. And then yeah, that's it. And we just have a single Excel just with an extra column saying multisig.
I really want to keep things simple. So
well, the problem is if it's not for Sampo, they probably don't need multisig. But if we're doing audit reports, for the audit reports from our side, we probably do need to declare the multisig.
Yeah,
adding an extra column is going to take me like 10 minutes. It'll just be at the end of this thing, and it'll have the same validation where you can only drop down and select the 5 or whatever. And then when they fill it out, they can have that. For this working group, I'm gonna
but probably the comms is going to be filled by me because Chu is not even answering. Like he is not putting so much time. But yeah, I can just do it. Like because my idea was getting all this data, by this week, and then I would love like if we could start working on the master sheet.
Yeah. So I'm happy to do that. So as I understand, right, Septi, you've got all of them in like one folder in in the TEC Google, right?
Yes.
So in order for me to work on these, I need basically edit access on that folder. I don't need the password or whatever to the account. I just need share access on that folder, and then I can start doing it.
Okay. Can we do it right now? give you access to that.
Okay.
So basically, I mean, I need to open the drive, right? I don't know why my internet is so slow lately.
I
So basically,
sign up to
I should.
some
You're breaking up.
unrelated. I signed up to many
I'm not
giveaways.
hearing you. Is anyone hearing Rex?
Yeah, you're cutting off, Rex.
I,
You're still breaking
that's
up.
cool. I signed up to like many giveaways, and I have faked my old student ID to try and get a ticket.
And he's gone. Okay, he's back.
Hello, is this
No,
no?
no. I mean, keep trying.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
Hello?
No idea what's up.
I think probably it's better now. Can you keep
Okay.
talking?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that I've trying to use all of the ways to get a free ticket into ETH Barcelona, and if I get a free ticket, I'll go. And you'll
Oh,
see me.
yeah. If I get one for some reason, I'll give it to you. For sure.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude.
I think you could ask Ivy because I saw on Twitter she could not go because her visa got rejected, and she seemed to have one spare ticket.
And actually, yeah, I don't know if Ivy will give it for free, but what you should also do is like talk with Juan. Juan got invited to the event, so he got a free invitation for he and someone else, and then 3 invitations for the DAO members. So in this case, TEC. So yeah, talk with Juan. He might have like 5 tickets or something like that.
No, that's good. Okay, if I get that, I'll go. I'll take the holiday for the whole damn week, and I'm
Yeah,
going.
man,
I'm going to.
it's going to be huge. You should come if you can.
Yeah, Prague was so little. It was really nice, but it was so little. Like only 400 hackers. So
Yeah, it's Barcelona. Make it if you can make it. Yeah, but yeah, going back to the work. This is what I'm seeing in the sheet. Like maybe we should make a folder here. New folder.
okay. Yeah.
TC budgets. And then put all of those here. Transparency. Sample legal gravity. Well, I'll make sure like everything is there. I can audit this after. But what do you need me to do now with this folder?
So it'd be sharing and giving edit access to me. Yeah, that's the one.
Editor. It seems
Yep.
like the bigger one.
Cool. Yeah, I'll start working on that.
Okay. Do
Even
you,
if it's
do
just
you think
two.
it'd be nice if we set up a call, like you can start building it, but then we could have a call to like to review it together, like see what we could add, what we could remove, or I mean, I don't
Okay,
think
like
remove anything, but
Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll have like I'll begin on basically had so the transparency one, which Bear has done. I haven't pulled my weight on that one, so I'll finish that one off. And then so I'll do transparency and gravitat, and then
gravity is
just
done.
just add those two, make the thing work. Because once you have the like merging for 2, you can merge for 20,000, and it'll be the same process. So I'll do it for those two, and then show you on maybe Thursday. We can have that call, and then expand it to whichever other teams we've got
Yeah,
as those get done.
I'll try to back Edu. So he also gets his and Tam for the stewards.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, the idea is like we could get as much as possible, and I don't know if you think I really think like Bear could just keep feeling transparency, and then you focus on the master sheet. I think this way we will get it sooner. I don't know if you guys agree, but I mean that would be an idea. It's just it's a suggestion. Like of course, like you can do it as you want.
Yeah,
Are
I
you good
see
with
it
that?
up to you, Rex.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I can take it.
Cool. And yeah, we were also talking before Rex, before you joined. Like we should like have kind of some standard. Like for example, we were talking with Rex, instead of adding like the date of the transaction made on the blockchain, like having the last day of the month. So we could define that is March, like by just looking at the dates. And then in the description we could add what was done, and then in notes maybe there's nothing to add, but maybe there's something we want to add.
Okay. So notes is just if anything extra. It's
Yeah,
just an
exactly.
expansion.
Yeah, it could be empty, right?
So notes is so the working groups can write whatever they want in it. Because maybe they just have something that maybe isn't part of the description that they want to write in it. Maybe they're doing the process wrong, and like they're writing a note on it saying like, I don't know, this transaction is going to go through in 3 months' time or something like that. And then they write it as a note, and yeah, we can pinpoint and say that. So notes is just an extra column for them. Now date, you were saying just the month. I didn't follow that one. The others, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, in the day, like having like here in Gravity, like you see like 31 of, like instead of having the date of the transaction like happen, actually have the date of the, like, if it's salaries, especially like it's the expenses from March from this Graviton thing. So putting at the
Okay.
end of the
Oh,
month.
like the because is this in relation to you were saying like March March in quotes and April in quotes transactions where some of
Yeah.
them were in May. Okay.
Well, I don't think we should do it one way or another. But what we should do is like keep all the data the same way, so then it's
Yeah.
easier to understand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe we could add as a note that the transaction happened on April 7th, for example.
but it's also here in the link. If you check the link, you can see when the transaction happened, right?
No. So the link. So the link isn't on the sheet. So then it's a pain in the ass to check like 2,000 transactions like
Oh
via the
yeah,
link.
but do we care about the date it happens?
Personally, I would found it important maybe at some point, but that's just me.
So I would say as well. I would say no, but so the only minute we care about the date is when we're verifying that what the. So I assume in the audit report, right, we have to like go through the teams and say, right, there isn't a team who has stolen $20,000 worth of funds, or 10,000 or 1,000. And that's part of the transparency. So it's our role to kind of go onto this spreadsheet and check, right, is this proper? Like, maybe not like super in depth, but like in general sense. So I don't know if the date helps us to do that, But if the
Yeah.
transaction hash is there, then the transaction link is there, then sure. But then we have to make the transaction links mandatory. And the problem with that also is that there isn't one-to-one. So sometimes, like, the teams might want to do just one column to say funding to like all of these 20 different people, but maybe they weren't smart enough to like do it on one transaction where it like sends all of these tokens to all these people and they use like multiple. Like in that case, that column doesn't help out as much.
Yeah.
Just having the transaction.
I also think it's important, like, to, don't put so much work into the others. So if we keep like this shit, like the less inputs they need to put, the better. Of course, like
Yeah.
we need to make them put what we need, but the
Yeah.
less, the better.
Okay. So let me think on it, but yeah, we could change it just to be like fun. If this is the way that all of the working groups operate, then potentially doing that is like the best option. Changing just the date to be like a month thing directly.
And I have
But
another question.
I have to think on it.
Okay, but I have another question. What if every working group do it differently? Like transparency puts like the date of the transaction, and then gravity do this way. Does it matter?
So
I would say
on
it
the
does.
aggregate, like if we aggregate stuff and then want to split it down by month, then yes, it will matter. Because
Yeah.
but to what
Yeah.
point? I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Then keep it simple. Like put like here 31 of March, right? Like boom, and that's it. Right?
So yeah, sure. Like yeah, that sounds good. So if it's like a common payment or something, you can just put it on like 31 of March. Otherwise, if it's like a one-off payment, like our payment's just done monthly for all of the teams because the transactions aren't like just once a month, right? So I'm assuming there's like some transactions which just pop
Well,
up or they have to
it
be
also
paid in the
depends.
middle.
Like Combs is paying every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we could make those like 15 and 31 or 30, whatever the month is. And yeah, I actually have another thing. Like, I think we should talk in this call, and we only have 15 minutes. Basically, what we were chatting in the DMs about, like, metadata. Do we want like working groups mess with this data or not? I actually like what Gideon said about like have like simple ones. I mean, standard ones, because this looks different from Gravity. Yeah, I would. What the other ones have, or it's everyone having to fill their.
So are people changing like the metadata columns? Is that what's happening?
Oh, okay.
Should all be the same as that one.
Okay, maybe we close them so people cannot miss
Okay.
with that, and
So
then
you see the lock at the bottom that is in like dashboard and all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple of like it's a right click and like lock or something. I'll do that.
Yeah, I would lock all of them, like except the transaction sheet.
Okay, that sounds fine.
But
So
yeah,
my
The lock can actually be edited, but it just like prompts you in your face, like, "Hey, you shouldn't really be changing this."
yeah, it happens to me when I try
Yeah.
to do some stuff.
yeah, because for example, I would say like education and training or research. I guess those are categories that they don't basically apply to every working group, right? So I guess they would still need the possibility to add or to eliminate categories if they need to.
Yeah, but
They can just not use it, right?
and it was also what Gideon said. Like if every working group start putting categories, then the data will be spread out and will be harder to read from us. What we should do is like make a standard categorization, and then if working groups needs to add new data, they could DM us and ask for it, and then we could consider it and add it. But
Yeah.
it's
We
important,
can
like
add one that says other if you want, and then if we see someone write an other, we can be like, why? And
yeah,
then decide.
that'd be great.
Yeah, sounds good.
Or even a specific from the work, yeah, like like something specific from the working group, like recordings, for example. Like this is something very specific for the transparency working group. Like it could fall in a category like it says specific for working group, something like that. I don't know. I don't know have the right uh, answer, but something around those lines.
Yeah. Obviously, the I don't know if I'm.
So yeah, actually, what I think we should do now is like have a call like for the master sheet. Like when do you think like will you have it?
So I'll be working on it throughout. So Wednesday, basically, I'll be working on it Wednesday evening, so I can have a call uh, Thursday, Thursday sometime, and then we can see
Sounds
like
good.
how it's working, whether we like need to do anything different before we expand it to like having all of the data sources. So from 2 to have like 7 or something or 10. Yeah, we
Which
can
time
have the call
which time on Thursdays
uh,
will work for you?
after 6 p.m. your time.
Orientation time,
So,
7 p.m.
sure. Just need to work.
Why I don't see you here? Okay, I'll create it. Everyone who wants to join it, like send me your email, and I'll send an invitation to the event.
Cool.
And is there anything else we need to? Okay, for Thursday, I'll try to get Edo and Tam to finish theirs, so we at least have four. Very focusing on transparency. Gravity is done. The only thing missing on gravity is like adding the like I'll do it because yeah we need to add the Discord handles here and okay cool Enti, I'll add you right now. Um, oh look Rex.
Yeah, and if you could add me as well, Septi, would be nice.
For some reason, when I type bear, doesn't
It's BCG,
BCD
that one. G.
G.
No, I mean G instead of D.
Oh, G
No, BCG.
BCG. Okay.
That one.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one. Cool. Okay, we have the whole crew. Awesome. I'll send the invitation. And okay. So to this day, let's try to get like all these sheets complete, like the most we can. Probably in the one of transparency, I think it would benefit us like if we have like these categories like the same, and then
Yeah, for now, just do like another category if there's something that really doesn't fit, and then we can discuss it and add some because they need to be general. The
yeah,
categories general enough
okay.
that we can like compare between working groups. But of course, you don't want to have something that's just like in the wrong category.
That's interesting because I was the one that, of course, changed those categories, and I
Yeah.
chose them based on the proposal that was posted. And in that proposal, if you want to show it safety, uh, you have these actual categories, right? So I just thought that it could be actually helpful for the working group to compare what you're proposing to what you're actually doing. And even like, for example, in the proposal, you can see that there's like a monthly amount that the working group is proposing that is going to be used monthly. So then you can check that with the data like there, right? Like we could say that it's 418 for operations weekly. So that's, I don't know how much it is for the whole month, but then you can take that number and compare it with your actual numbers, and then you can see, oh, maybe we're spending a little more, maybe we're spending a little less. So you can do that type of analysis within your working group, right? If you
Okay.
change the categories, maybe it would be different, I would say. I'm just explaining like my the reason why I did it.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. But like is there no way of keeping the same names and still having like one to one? Like, are the categories we're using not adaptable to transparency's categories? Basically, like,
Like for
is
example,
it?
education and those ones, uh,
Yeah.
or like what Septi was saying of having like one that is specific for the working group. For example, recording calls, the audit. Those are the kind of things that I see. Well, I guess we should have one for bounties, right? For even for gravity, that's, I would say that's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then something I wanted to share with what you were saying there, like normally what working groups are doing is asking, like it's always better having carryovers than having less money and do not be able to pay people. So the idea in almost every proposal is like having more money. Like I'm also working on a proposal for the advanced page. I basically have to pay designers and developers, and the idea is like this project is going to cost I don't know 4K, but then we all end up spending 3K. That's good. We just send this over like if the project is done and that's it. You just send this money back to the common pool and that's it. Like what's important is show what you're doing, but not so much like the budget doesn't have to be precise. It's like it's not a requirement.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I guess it's just like an analysis tool that you could have. For example, we can do it like for operations according to the proposal should be around 1600 a month, right? So now if you go to the transparency budget one, like the sheet, and if you go to the cash flow summary, or I think it's the category, so the detail, yeah. Then there you can see like operations. Okay, then March and April we were higher, I get that's fine. Like you're saying that's no problem. But maybe we would have to show somewhere where that work is happening, or
Yeah,
maybe we can take an analysis, or maybe we could reduce our spending. Like it's
Or in
just
the
a
next
basic
project ask
analysis.
but this is
or,
not
or
like
we can even budget properly. Like
the
if
majority of
if
this
we
money in the transparency was in the audit, and this says like only 152.
The what? Sorry.
Like the higher, like the higher amount of, I mean, not the higher, but a big, like, for sure, like in the audit we spend more money than that.
Well, all these transactions were based on the tracking document that we all use. So it was all there. Like people were selecting if it was audit or if it was
but,
something else.
but for example, like, yeah, that's messy, because when I'm asking my salary, I put, like, if I ask 2K, I put 200 hours on recording and then say check the budget. But that doesn't mean like I'm recording calls all day long.
Yeah, that's a little confusing. So
Yeah. I think I can take care of transparency because it's pretty messy.
that
Yeah,
that's kind of like my intention with the sheet. Like to actually kind of try to avoid getting messy and confusing, and trying to bring more clarity to working groups, right? So yeah, I think it's kind of difficult to achieve it, but yeah, I think it's just important work and difficult questions, right?
but
But it's very
yeah,
good. Like maybe you didn't know, like you were like even if you don't want to change like the amount of money that you're spending on operations, now you know how much you are spending. So on the
Exactly.
next budget, you can say, right, we've been
yeah,
spending this much historically. Like on version 1, we asked for 200. On when we did it, we realized we need 300 on this section. So now we're going to ask for 300 on this section and reduce the other ones that we didn't spend so much money on.
Or maybe we
So
should
like,
also have like a category for salaries, if that's the case, right? So we can separate those. That would be
yeah.
maybe
But
another thing.
the idea of the sheet is like knowing where those sites are spent it on, right?
Right, and right now I think everything is like based on an hourly wage based on the proposal. So there's nothing talking about salaries. So I guess we could add that.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Like, what's the analysis you get out of that? Like, oh, we're spending so much money on salaries, and then what? Then what? What do you do with that? Like, you need to know what is being done with those salaries. This is more important.
well, but you need to know how much is being spent and what's being done with it, right? So this only
Yeah,
answers part of it. So
exactly.
it's like on what to actually do.
You put like this
That's a
under
different question.
operations, I don't
Yeah.
think that makes any sense. Like,
No, but I think it makes a lot of sense in just seeing the amount, but then justifying it and saying, right,
yeah,
this is worth it because Septi and Bear are the best, right? And they're doing everything, and they're really bringing value to the TEC, right? And with the audit reports and so on, and these salaries are kind of general, so they're not going to like one project, but all of the projects in all of the different streams of work that are
yeah.
happening in
I,
transparency.
I
So
put
that's why
the
we're going to keep it that way. So
I,
that's a different question. This just gives us the knowledge of how much is being spent. It's just the first thing before you can say, before you justify.
Yeah, it's just like half of it. We would need to build some kind of tool that could also track performance and efficiency, right? I think that's kind of the thing. This only tracks the spending. It's still good, right? But it's kind of like half of it.
I would stay away from trying to make a unified like
yeah.
performance because the targets that each working group sets are probably very specific and they don't work in the same way. And like maybe one is project based, the other is hourly based, the other is like just task based and so on, and doing like performance for all of those is very difficult because they're different things. But
Oh yeah, that will have to do it like
yeah.
each project and each working, right?
Actually,
Like,
guys, we're at the top of the hour. I really have to go, but I just wanted to say like I'll finish this one because this is pretty messy. Like I think I should do that because otherwise
So-
it doesn't make sense at all.
so you don't want me to finish transparency?
I think it'd be better like if I'll do like like I could do like even fixing this part and then you can finish it. But let me like mark the guide. I think it's just better because
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, you let me know, Septi.
I'll just modify those and then when I'll do it today. When I'll do it, you can finish the rest. That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. I really have to jump off, guys. Thank you so much.
See you Thursday.
See you
Thanks,
Thursday.
Septi.
Bye.
Bye bye.